What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Wrestlemania Backlash is here, but will the show deliver the goods? Well, join us now as we look at the 2022 edition of Backlash as we recap the show and look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. And yes, there is a downright ugly. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check us out on Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel Incredible. But we start off with the main show as Seth Rollins takes on the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. And it looks like Seth Rollins is better prepared this time around as he dominates the match, wearing Cody down in and out of the ring. The Visionary always seems to be one move ahead of Cody, but Cody finally gets Rollins where he wants him, superplexing him. Both men begin breaking out the big guns as Cody hits a Cody Cutter and Seth delivers a Falcon Arrow. However, it's not enough yet. Cody then goes for a moonsault, but Seth dodges, hits a pedigree for a near fall. Cody then goes for a vertebreaker, but then Seth reverses it into an O'Connor roll. Handful of tights, but Cody reverses and actually grabs the tights for the 1-2-3 as Cody wins the match. Next up, it's Omos with MVP versus Bobby Lashley. That's the Nigerian Giant versus the Almighty. As this is another WrestleMania rematch, but Lashley outwits Omos and ties him up into the ropes, beating him down until MVP distracts him. Lashley then goes for a sleeper, but Omos throws him off. Lashley then chases MVP and applies the Hurt Lock on him, then goes back to Omos and wears him down, applying the Hurt Lock. Lashley's gonna go for the spear, but then Omos knees him and throws him into the corner while MVP manages to poke him in the eye, giving Omos the advantage he needs to deliver a choke bomb for the win. The next match after that is Edge versus AJ Styles. Styles unleashes a furious offense on Edge with two slugging it in and out of the ring. However, AJ injures his left arm, putting him in at less than 100%, a bad place to be against someone as dangerous as Edge. He wears it down throughout the match, and AJ and Edge exchange submission holds but can't seal the deal. AJ goes for a phenomenal forearm, but he can't climb the top rope and goes to the corner, but then Damian Priest shows up despite being barred from ringside. Finn Balor also shows up, and a hooded person knocks Styles off the top rope while referee Jessica Carr is distracted. Edge applies a crossface and then a sleeper, knocking Styles unconscious. Edge wins by knockout, and after the match, Edge's helper reveals their identity. It's Rhea Ripley. We then get the one and only championship match on the card as it's an I Quit match for the SmackDown Women's Championship between Ronda Rousey and champion Charlotte Flair. Both women are looking to hurt each other as the match quickly spills out of the ring and both women began employing weapons such as kendo sticks and steel chairs. Ronda locks the armbar on Charlotte while Charlotte is on the outside of the ring in a tree of woe, but gravity helps Flair escape. Flair locks in the figure 4, then turning it into a figure 8. However, Ronda just won't give up and she escapes with a chair. Charlotte recovers and grabs the chair, warning Rousey that this is her last chance before wishing her Happy Mother's Day. Flair's mention of Rousey being a mum sets her off as she puts the arm lock on Flair, using the chair for leverage. Flair refuses to quit, which only makes Rousey happier as she talks the hold up, forcing Flair to quit, and we do now have new SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey. We then get the next match of the night, which is Happy Corbin versus Madcap Moss. Now Madcap Moss has a lot to prove, and he does as he fights back Happy Corbin's brawling and power moves. Corbin is determined to prove Moss isn't on his level, but he can't finish the match and Moss catches Corbin with a sunset flip for the 1-2-3. And now finally it's time for the main event, as it's a 6-man tag as RK Bro and Drew McIntyre take on the Bloodline. Now the Bloodline's experience give them the advantage for most of the match until RK Bro and McIntyre regroup. The Scottish Warrior prepares the announce table for a special guest, but Roman recovers and puts Drew through the table. Riddle then surprises Roman and Jimmy with a dive from the outside of the ring. However, Jay goes after Riddle, throwing him into the ring, and they exchange kicks. Riddle is down as Jay goes to the top rope, only for Riddle to beat him to the top rope, RKOing him off the top. But Roman Reigns runs in, spears Riddle, and covers him for the 1-2-3. The Bloodline win the match as WrestleMania Backlash closes out. But that was a quick recap of the show. Now let's move on to the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, starting off strong. And while tonight's Cody vs Seth match wasn't as good as their WrestleMania match, and it was a bit sloppy at times, there was no way this match wasn't going to get the show off to an excellent start. Now Cody winning the rematch might seem like a bad way to continue this feud at Hell in a Cell, but the WWE can have Seth whine that Cody cheated. Look for that to happen as the two meet again for a final time at Hell in a Cell. Number 2, a super slobber knocker. Now the Omos vs Bobby Lashley bout was an excellent rematch as Omos looked strong, especially with MVP providing whatever distractions he could. They not only booked a good match, they booked a controversial ending to set up a rematch for Hell in a Cell. Omos looked excellent against Lashley, and while the Almighty likely helped, Omos continues to improve in the ring. As we mentioned at WrestleMania, brawls like this are ideal for Omos, and the WWE has the right man for Omos with Lashley, but will they be able to find similar opponents for down the road? Well, that's the $1,000,000 question, but for now, Omos is in good hands with MVP and Lashley is helping him grow. Number 3, a series of solid rematches. A kudos to everyone involved in tonight's WrestleMania Backlash rematches, as the various superstars outdid themselves. While Cody vs Seth wasn't as good as their first match, it was still a thriller and a terrific way to kick off the show. None of tonight's rematches were redundant, as each superstar worked hard to avoid wrestling the same match. Number 4, a strong stipulation match. And the I Quit Charlotte vs Ronda bout showed how much a stipulation can enhance a match and a feud. The story of Ronda's quest for the SmackDown Women's Championship was well crafted, beginning with Flair's underhanded win over Rousey at WrestleMania and concluding with the babyface showing her superiority in a match where the heel's cheating tactics were of little use. Number 5, the third woman revealed. Edge and Damian Priest have a new partner in crime as Rhea Ripley aided Edge against AJ Styles joining Judgement Day. While the move wasn't a huge surprise for fans who keep up with our daily news, it was still a smart move and one that had to surprise some fans. Why did she join? Well, look out for a video covering that. Number 6, more McAfee magic. Pat McAfee was on top of his game, reminding fans what everyone wants Pat on their announce team, including the NFL. Pat's joke that the Fiend was watching the show from the audience had to have fans scratching their heads until they saw it was just a fan with a Fiend mask. McAfee clearly does and says what he wants to, adding spontaneity and fun to his color commentary. Number 7, a massive main event. Tonight's main event was unusual, but not only because there were no titles on the line, but because it featured a 6-man tag team bout, a rarity on premium events. Now, despite them changing the match, this match ticked all the boxes for a fun and exciting match. Definitely the one to close out WrestleMania Backlash, which is glad WWE didn't phone it in on this one. But that was the good. What about the bad? Is number 1 one and done. Now, as good as it is to see Madcap Moss getting a push, the WWE can't afford to have him continue his feud with Happy Corbin. Moss has proven he can beat his former comedy partner, and he has nothing to gain with a series that should have played out on SmackDown. Although Moss vs Corbin has been dragged out for months, it seems like it has, which gives you every reason to end the program now. Number 2, another boring Bloodline win. Now, the main event was a star-studded smash-up, but did the Bloodline really need to win? Fans have to wonder why the WWE booked RK Bro and McIntyre against the Usos and Bloodline if they didn't want to set up Drew McIntyre's looming match against Roman Reigns. Roman looked dominant as usual, which effectively lessened or wiped out any interest for Drew versus Roman. The only plus point is that Drew wasn't pinned. A throw in Drew's loss to Roman at the 2021 Survivor Series, and fans have another reason not to be interested in this bout. Unless they plan on shaking things up by having Drew beat Roman at Clash of the Castle, this finish was another reminder of the WWE turning its entire roster into Roman's job squad. But that was the good, and the bad. What about the downright ugly, as different isn't always better? The WWE's matches for WrestleMania Backlash proved that different isn't always better. While Backlash had some excellent rematches, the lack of championship bouts hurt the show. We've argued for the WWE to try different approaches to Raw and SmackDown, but fans expect more prestigious matches. It doesn't matter if you classify them as pay-per-views or premium events, the show didn't seem all that special, and we feel bad for fans who shelled out money to attend an event that was more like a Madison Square Garden super show than a premium event. The WWE continues to struggle at building new stars, and it's digging a huge hole for itself in its World Championship picture, as Roman Reigns' domination of the men's division shows no sign that the WWE feels they have anyone who can stand up to Roman. As we've repeatedly pointed out, the WWE will find itself in big trouble if Roman is injured or decides to pursue a Hollywood career. It's time to start building main event stars rather than jobbing current ones and rising stars like Riddle. Otherwise, the Bloodline might as well start wrestling in every match. But there you have it, folks, our recap and the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of WrestleMania Backlash. What do you guys think of the show? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.